I think everybody should be willing to take more risks. And I think I've seen this over the last year, but I think, the standard for online meetings, you would never, a year ago, right about now, you would have never shown up to an online video meeting with a hoodie, right? And not that you should do that now, but, or accept a meeting where the video and the audio isn't perfect. But now people realize that that's not the most important thing, and you should make it as good as you can, right? But I think people realize that we will survive by having casual conversations that we record and put out. It doesn't have to be super high production value to have value. And so I think people should be more willing to take risks, make a little more natural content, user-generated content, be more accepting of different things, not to lower the standards completely, do the best, but realize there are more opportunities if you're willing to just do something a little bit different than what you would have accepted a year ago.
Yeah, and I guess part of that might be like brand personalization, maybe, because in life science, it still does seem, it's very rigid. We're on LinkedIn and maybe Twitter, and you've got all your SPR machine with a text over the top, and that's what it is. So what place do you think personalizing your company and your brand has in life science? And do you think we're doing that already, or do you think there's more scope to open that up?
I think there's definitely more scope to do that. That came up in my conversation yesterday as well about personalization. And I understand the need to protect your brand in certain ways. I was responsible for it at Varian, and we had pretty strict brand guidelines. That was 15 years ago. And you should have brand guidelines, but I don't think you need to control everything that comes out from your employees. And in fact, you can't. And you have a whole sales team that's out talking to people every day, and your customer service people, even if they're on the phone, they are your brand. So they should have some standards, but you can't control everything they do. So why don't we let them participate more on social channels and trust that they're building relationships that are good for you? And if you don't trust them, then if you don't think they can do that, you should get rid of them, right? I mean...
So over your time in science and marketing, and now you're a podcast host, you've been involved in so many different things. What is the most valuable thing that you've learned?
The value of this type of medium for networking. So when I started, I thought it was all about creating content. What I've learned is that it's all about building those relationships. So I've met over 100 people that I did not know just as guests on this podcast, not to mention the people that I've met through it that haven't been guests, but I've met them anyway, right? So this has been the most powerful networking tool I can imagine. It's hard to imagine anything else. And you can go to events and you can mingle and talk to people, and you might meet a couple, but it's a very different thing to sit with someone and have a conversation for a half hour or an hour. And the conversations before and after and so on, that's been the biggest surprise and the thing I've learned that is the most valuable and probably the most surprising.